This is a set of family photos secretly taken by a middle-class North Korean family before their daring escape. Over the next 20-plus days of a nerve-wracking journey, they would travel 5,000 kilometers across Asia, traverse the entire length of China, carry rice and plastic bags through Southeast Asian jungles, pass through Laos and Thailand, and finally, fly to South Korea. If discovered, they would be sent back to face inhumane torture. Mr. Park knew full well that this endeavor would drain their life savings and could leave them homeless forever, potentially costing his entire family their lives. Yet the family unanimously agreed to take the risk, driven by their unwavering beliefs. After months of meticulous planning and waiting, they put their plan into action just as the Tumen River began to freeze. Across the river lay Musan, a desolate mining city in northern North Korea, a place plagued by poverty and suffering, where Mr. Park would set the wheels of fate in motion. Their contact was old Jeng, a former agent who had successfully escaped North Korea 6 years earlier. He knew the terrain inside and out and had figured out the guard rotation schedules. He had also secretly distributed cell phones beforehand to facilitate communication. To avoid being captured and sent to concentration camps as a group, the family crossed the river in shifts. Once aboard the boat, they immediately moved to a pre-arranged safe house. Mr. Park was the last family member to reach shore, and when they reunited, they embraced tightly. Though the cell phone footage was blurry and silent, everyone could feel their overwhelming emotions. This was just the first stop on their 5,000-kilometer journey. The next leg would be arranged by Uncle Jung, a Korean Christian who, guided by God's will, had successfully helped over 10,000 North Korean defectors reach South Korea through underground networks. Mr. Park said they had agreed that if this operation failed, they would commit suicide together by taking poison, because being captured would lead to an even more brutal fate. When his 23-year-old daughter was asked why she wanted to leave North Korea, she said she wasn't betraying her country. She simply wanted more freedom. In North Korea, possessing a single South Korean movie could land you 5 years in prison and destroy your future prospects, which made her feel suffocated. During their 10-plus days in China, they had to make themselves as invisible as air, pretending to be mute when they couldn't avoid speaking. If discovered, they would be repatriated to North Korea. Jung entrusted Old Pa, a North Korean defector living in China, to escort Mr. Park's family to the Laotian border. Old Pa had been trading in China since 1999, first with televisions, then with pants and other scarce goods. Speaking fluent Northeastern Chinese dialect, Old Pa knew China like the back of his hand.
The reason he didn't go to South Korea after defecting wasn't just because the air here was fresh and sweet.
Now alone in this world, he had no one left to depend on. During his own river crossing escape, his wife and children were discovered and shot on the spot. He had lived with that guilt ever since, and helping others reach freedom brought him some measure of peace. 3 days later, they appeared in a farmhouse at the border. Border crossings are never simple affairs and require extreme caution. The middleman would only signal when it was time to depart. Mr. Park's family had no idea what would happen next. During these 10-plus days, they had all the rice they could eat, yet it felt like a century had passed. Finally, at 6 a.m. on the 20th day, they received the departure signal. Taking rice for the journey and plastic bags for warmth, they began their trek through the jungle. This was a smuggling route specially carved out by their guide to easily avoid patrols. After passing through barbed wire and hiking downhill, a van would be waiting to pick them up. After 20 days of this epic journey across all of China, everyone was exhausted, but thinking about how they just needed to hold on a little longer before starting a new life in South Korea, Old Park immediately broke into a smile. Even if it meant losing everything and risking their lives, it was absolutely worth it. From the Laotian border to Thailand, the family had to pay several $1,000s in fees, their entire life savings. In fact, many middlemen are con artists who abandon people once they reach Laos. So clever Old Park only paid half up front, with the other half due upon reaching Thailand. To avoid seasonal floods and regular checkpoint inspections, what should have been an 8-hour drive took them a full 16 hours. They finally arrived in Vientiane and settled in the next day at noon. The atmosphere here was much more relaxed, and Jung reunited with them, preparing a lavish lunch. This meal was the most enjoyable they'd had since leaving North Korea. Mr. Park's wife explained that due to North Korea's strict food rationing system, even though their family only had 4 members, going hungry was the norm. Their 23-year-old daughter also shed tears of emotion. That evening, they watched a South Korean movie, something absolutely forbidden in North Korea. They began experiencing a different kind of pure joy. After waiting and resting here for 5 days, under cover of darkness, they made their way to the banks of the Mekong River. This was the most critical step of the entire operation. Once they crossed this river into Thailand, Old Park's family would have achieved complete success. Fortunately, as dawn broke, Mr. Park's family successfully reached the other side of the Mekong River and set foot on Thai soil. All they needed to do next was take a train to the South Korean embassy in Bangkok to register as refugees. During the 10-plus-hour train ride to Bangkok, some unexpected complications arose. As the train was about to arrive at Bangkok station, Thai police managed to pick them out from the crowd due to their panicked expressions and exhausted eyes. Mr. Park's family was terrified, but Jung calmly reassured them to cooperate with the authorities. The Thai authorities would take them to an immigration detention center, carefully verify their information, and after 2 months, Thailand would send them either back to North Korea or to South Korea according to their wishes. Without question, South Korea was their only answer. This was why they had traveled thousands of miles across half of Asia to reach Thailand. The intact family sat in the police van without a trace of fear. Now they had nothing left except their freedom and an uncertain tomorrow.